Hey there, welcome back to my tiny workshop. It was pointed out to me by some of my UK viewers that their shops are smaller than mine. So, not to insult anyone, I've decided to call my shop tiny. Not small, not micro, just tiny. It seems, according to my other viewer, that an actual definition of micro workshop is 8 by 8. Or less, apparently. I can't imagine getting any work done in that kind of small space. So for now, I'm very thankful for what I got. Anyways, when I first started woodworking, I was working out of my garage, and the dust, it got everywhere. On my cars, on my shelves, all over the place. My solution back then was to just drag my tools outside and make a mess in the driveway. I'm sure some of you can relate, but my wife wasn't such a big fan of that one too. But once I built my tiny workshop, that's when I realized I had to take dust collection seriously. Not just for cleanup, not but for breathing, and actually being able to work in the shop without choking myself out. And honestly, I just think better in a clean shop. My very first line of defense wasn't fancy. It was just a simple dust mask. And yes, it took me a while to figure out which one I like. I like this one because it has a removable filter, it's washable, and it doesn't fog up my glasses when I'm working. And while this worked while I was outside, inside the shed, it just wasn't enough. Dust was coating everything. So the first real upgrade I needed to do in the shop was buying an air filter. Suddenly, I wasn't wiping down every surface after every project, and the air did not look like I was cutting in the middle of a sandstorm. I settled on this When air filtration system. It has a remote, and I've been very happy with it for a while now. And if you need any further proof that you really need one, here's a shot of my filter. It used to be white. That solved the floating dust in the air problem. But it didn't help with the dust coming straight out of my tools, which led me to my next step, the Shopvac. So here's the thing about Shopvacs. Don't get hung up on the brand. What really matters is the airflow, how well it fits in your space. When I was shopping, I kept seeing the same big claims about peak horsepower. Marketing fluff. Every Shopvac plugs into the same 110 outlet, and 110 outlets can only deliver about 15 amps before it trips the circuit breaker. That's 110 times 15 equals to about 1,650 watts maximum. Okay? What really matters is the CFM. That's cubic feet per minute. And that's how much air it can move. Capacity wasn't my concern. As a beginner, I didn't really crank out mountains of chips. What mattered to me was, does it fit under my miter station? But when I got it home, the first thing I noticed wasn't the suction. It was the dust blowing out of the exhaust. And that's when I understood why people love dust extractors. They give you a second outlet to plug a tool in. So when you turn on the tool, the shop vac, or at least the dust extractor, turns on automatically. And when you turn off the tool, this also shuts off. They run the air through a HEPA filter and they're quiet. But here's the catch. Even Festool still requires a bag unless you want to keep cleaning or buying those expensive filters. Festool is too pricey. Harbor Freight sells a dust extractor too. And that's surprisingly good for the money. But for me, still too big for my tiny shop. And again, it needs a bag. So here's where I landed. I stuck with a 3-gallon rigid shop vac. I added a muffler diffuser to the exhaust. I swapped out a HEPA filter, and I used the dust bag. This combo knocked down the noise, stopped the back blow, and basically turned a budget shop vac into a poor man's dust extractor. Oh, and as a tip, don't even think about enclosing your shop vac. It needs airflow to stay cool. Don't tell me how I know this. Or at least if you do, um, give it plenty of ventilation. So comment below, what shop vac are you running? Did you go small like me or big with a full dust extractor? I'd like to know. So after that, here's where things really start driving me crazy. Every tool company seemed to have gotten together and decided not to agree on anything. You have a 1-inch port, you have a 1 1/4, you have a 1 1/2. And to top it off, shop vac manufacturers also decided that they wanted to have their own sizes. I think my shop vac is a 2 1/4. So at first I tried the brute force method. I bought a different adapter for every tool. And you know what I ended up with? A box full of plastic adapters. Half of them didn't even work. I had to duct tape them to keep them from falling out. Total pain in the, behind. And that's when I discovered the Rockler Dust Right FlexiPort kit. This end plugs nicely into a 2 1/4 shop vac. They even have these little attachments so that you could put your cord in it to keep it from getting tangled up. The hose itself was fairly flexible. Internally, while it still had ridges in it, it seemed to be a lot smoother than all the other solutions out there. Best thing, this actually fits into shop vac adapters to make cleaning easier. But this kit comes with multiple sizes adapters for the tools. Like this is a simple one. I think this is the 1-inch. You can just basically plug it in there like that. This one goes in here, and you get the idea, but this end plugs into here. So makes tool switching super convenient. Now Rockler isn't the only game in town. Centec actually also offers a similar solution. The difference is the Centec one has a rigid hose, and this one is a flexible. And for me, the convenience of flexibility and being able to, it auto retracts after I finish using the tool, was a convenient I wanted. You have actually other solutions for hoses, much better ones, like the rigid professional kit hose that they sell actually has a nice internal flat surface, so the sawdust doesn't get stuck in between. But to me, this flexibility kind of sort of beats it hands down. And especially in a tiny shop, every inch really matters. But honestly, each of these hoses has its own place. It's all about how you balance space, dust, and convenience. So the shop vac worked, but the dust bag filled up pretty fast. And that's really when I learned why people use a cyclone separator. They trap the chips long before it can reach the shop vac. That keeps the shop vac working at peak efficiency, no drop in CFM. I started with a DIY no-name Cyclone separator. It caught most of it, but it still leaked. Then I added a baffle to it, and better, but not perfect. Then I tried a dust deputy. Looked promising as it was commercially made. And it worked, but it was tall and awkward. And that's really when I came and settled on this Centec Cyclone Separator. It has a cyclone, it has a baffle inside it, and it even has a long chimney in it to prevent the escape of dust. I haven't changed bags since. So hooking it up was another project. The Cyclone uses a 2.5-inch port, and my Shopvac was 2.25-inch port. My fix, I bought a 2-inch PVC pipe from the big box store. It's called a 2-inch pipe, but shocker, that's referring to the internal diameter, and this one is the outer diameter is actually 2 3/8 inches. I cut off a piece, heated it with a heat gun, molded to fit, and voila, perfect fit. Then I ran a 2.5-inch flexible rib hose. It's locked with a hose clamp with a key in it. And I do recommend you get the ones with a key. Makes your life so much easier. And then voila, I'm connected. This little PVC hack, it sets me up for my next solution. Now that the Shopvac ran through the cyclone separator and the bag stayed empty, the next question was, how do I connect all these to my tools, my big tools? I built my own PVC switcher, a 5-slot manifold with magnets on them. Each tool got its own hose. This one goes to my table saw. This goes to my miter saw. This one is currently split between my band sander and my drill press. Eventually, I'm going to separate that. And the last one here is connected to my Rockler flexi hose, which then connects to my small hand tools. And this also connects to the Shopvac attachments to help clean up the shop. The last one, of course, is for expansion. I connected all them, like this connects to the Cyclone Separator, and I connected them with this flexible rib hoses. Now, some people say these flexible hoses slow the airflow compared to smooth PVC hoses. I've tested it. Honestly, straight pipe versus rib hose, the difference was really minimal. So to me, the convenience sort of outweigh all the other ones. To make it easier, I plugged everything into a surge suppression strip with an automatic Shopvac. Turn on a tool and the Shopvac kicks in. Better than a Festool, as I was able to plug in 6 tools to it. So this completed my DIY dust extractor. It has an automatic vacuum switch, a muffler that reduces the noise, and the HEPA filter that kept the air clean. And actually, let me know if you'd be interested in a build video for this switcher setup. If that's something you'd like to see, drop me a comment and I'll make it happen. So here's where I'm at. A modified Shopvac, a cyclone separator, a DIY switcher that keeps my tiny shop workable. But if I ever start wanting to mill lumber, I would need to add a jointer or a thickness planer. I'll have to step up to a true dust collector. And here's the simple rule of thumb for me. Most handheld tools, table saws, sanders, come with a 2-inch port. They don't generate big chips, just small fine dust. That's Shopvac territory. They're designed for low volume, high pressure action. which is perfect for pulling dust right at the source. But once you step up to bigger tools like a planer or joiner, the ports also jump up to 4 to 6 inches. And that's the sign you've officially crossed over into dust collector territory. Those machines spit out mountains of chips like they really need high volume, low pressure airflow to keep up. And that's a whole different ballgame. It requires a bigger cyclone, a real filter, and in my case, probably some kind of a vertical setup like hanging from the ceiling just to make it fit in my tiny shop. So in short, the Shopvac is step one. The dust collector comes later. It's not an either or. And I'm not gonna claim that I'm an expert for the dust collector because I'm not. I have not yet moved into that territory. But if you've made that jump, or you know a compact collector that fits in small shop, geez, please drop me a note down here. So that's my dust collection journey. From a messy garage to a tiny shed to a shop vac hacks that made life livable. And if you found this useful, entertaining, or even pathetic, give it a like and subscribe. Links below to all the products that I mentioned. And seriously, comment below. Tell me what worked for you, what I missed. Your tips might save me and someone else watching from next mistake. See you next time. Bye.